Good evening, everybody. It's been quite a while, been about a week or two now since we've last seen the trucks in action, and in time for the regular season championship to get tied up here. So, to no further ado, starting on the front row, we've got none other than Tim Kourting and Atlee Weiss, the two stars of the show. Behind them, we've got the 10 of Jordan Walker and the 18. Actually, this might give everyone a chance to... We're going to go ahead and reset because the racing line is on and I want to disable that. So, this will give everyone an opportunity to kind of file in here. The race has not started yet, but we want to disable that so we don't have to look at the ideal racing line. You can tell I was doing some driving of my own recently because I turned that on. And so now we'll try again here with the racing line disabled. So yeah, no, it's been a couple weeks since we last saw trucks on track. Today here at Pocono for 60 laps, 150 miles around the tricky triangle. Tim Kourting rolls in with a win on the last, winning the last race coming into this week to avenge that. And it looks like the results are going to be the same here. Still Tim Kourting on the front row. However, now you've got Jordan Walker in second now. So now Atlee Weiss falls back to third. Scott Speed fourth. Andre Stefan and Chadwick. Today we have none other than Guido Piano, the 2022 USA Truck Champion, hopping into the 87 truck here for TRD Racing, alongside Ant Me Person. Bradley Ream has locked his way in due to points, so he's basically going to be running around just trying to secure some extra points here today at Pocono. A win would help him significantly get a little bit more going into the chase. Alongside him is the 20 of Gavin Gray. Zach Armstrong is in pretty good territory right now, but if he has a bad day, he could get locked out with the surprise winner. Dalton Hayes alongside of him there is a driver that desperately hopes he can point his way in here tonight. Andrew Moger is in a must-win just about as everyone else behind him. Jeffrey Gerald locked in on points. Then you got Jack Davis and Trevor Vaden, Logan Nagy and Taden Berggren, James Reddick and Colton Smith, Cannon Gage and David Bird, Tasha Wright and Jack Ross, Craig Bush and GP Luxembourg, John Brinker and Jakov Rosovich, Ryan Little and Jessica Hergeson, Osceola Escobar with Chris Hergeson, Maggie Reams and James Robert, Jamie Horseman and Kyle Ottawa, Nate Gonzalez and Cannon Bird, Chris Mousy and Leighton Aviard, with Santi Messi and AJ Kosnoff taking up the rear of the field. So yeah, 60 laps here at Pocono. Very unpredictable track we've seen in years past, that there's no telling what's going to play out. We could see fuel mileage become a factor. We could see it turn into a wreck fest for all we know. It's been pretty solid, racing that we've seen the last couple weeks without a whole lot of crashing and wrecking, and not much for mechanical failures either. The West Coast, on the other hand, has been kind of all over the board, but this East Coast, we've seen pretty strong and true how fast the fast are, and very, very few wrecks and breaks. So going into turn one here, it's nose to nose with Tim Kourting and Jordan Walker. Atlee right there, hounding the 50 truck right there. Going to be pretty easy for Tim to settle into the lead here in front of Jordan Walker. But before long, he's going to have Atlee Weiss as a contender here at the front of the field. It can't be highlighted enough the fact that Chaz Chadwick has gone this far into the season without getting a win. He usually secures the regular season championship at this time. He's so far out of it that he has no way to point his way into the chase. He's going to have to win here today or live to fight another day for a championship. You come quite a long ways to get to this point, and not having the ability to fight for a championship definitely stings. You know, that sting will either bring you down or it'll motivate you to come back stronger than ever. Still has one more shot here today, moving his way up to 5th. We saw a buzzer beater moment with the guy there in the 87 truck with Guido Piano to win his championship. He was bottom of the final 6 that were going to get cut down into the final 3. And Guido Piano was 6th of 6 with no way of pointing his way in a must-win scenario. And we saw here in 2022, this was the scene of Guido Piano's mastery to actually pull off victory by fuel mileage. So, like I said, fuel mileage could definitely play a factor here today. You never know. Wouldn't that be funny if Guido Piano comes back with no championship on the line and has a good run here today, already moving his way up to 3rd. Tim Kourting holding the lead over Jordan Walker. And looks like Guido Piano sticking his nose on the inside here, trying to fight for 2nd. This could be interesting. And with that, the 10 of Jordan Walker actually drops back 2 spots. Guido Piano's not messing around here. Piano getting up on the inside of Tim Kourting. We have not seen very many people challenge the 50 truck all season so far. It seems like when Tim Kourting gets out front, he kind of walks away with it. But Guido Piano, in a one-off run here, is going to say, hey, I'm, the defending USA Trucks champ for a reason. Tim Kourting, the defending truck champ in his own right, winning the 2023 winter season. Crazy to think that this is the summer championship and we're getting into fall, soon to be, winter around the corner. And Guido Piano takes the lead. That right there is a bold move from a non-championship contending driver. Guido Piano could potentially keep some other drivers out of winning their way in here today, as this would not count as a graduation to the championship chase for Guido Piano. Guido Piano in an all-star entry is ineligible to participate for the chase. And now Jordan Walker making a move, getting up to second here. This puts Tim Kourting back to third. Atlee Weiss now cracking his way up into the top 5. Very strange turn of events here at Pocono today, folks. Did not expect to see Guido Piano. Honestly, though, Guido Piano must have this track figured out for him to have won here in 2022 to move his way to the championship final 3 and come in here today already leading within the first 3 laps. You know, you got certain horses for certain courses, and I think that reigns true here with the 87 of Guido Piano. Oh, and there we go. Jordan Walker making a dive down onto the inside through turn 3 here. Atlee up to third. Atlee, the boss man there, going to get alongside his teammate in the 87. And then you got Zach Armstrong in the top 5 now too. Wow, there's a wreck about to happen. That was a close one. Tim Kourting gave Atlee Weiss the chrome bumper there. And Atlee is lucky to have saved that. That could have got really hairy. Not often you see a move like that. Can only imagine that they're racing a little bit harder here today, knowing it's the regular season championship. Tim Kourting has a lot on the line himself since he has not taken first in the points. So he's fighting to get that regular season championship, as crazy as it sounds. 5 wins on the season, and it still hasn't been enough for him to get up to first in the points. He sits third in the points right now as Andre Stefan has dominantly held the first place overall standing in the points. So that move was very, very crazy there from Tim Kourting, and I can only imagine he's trying to ruffle some feathers so that he can get to the front and potentially win this race and secure the regular season championship. But Andre Stefan, like a shark, lurking in the background there. Stefan ain't letting too many points get away from him. He's in 6th, about to be up to 5th here. And Stefan has had 10 consecutive races with a top 10. And I hate to even bring that up because you know very well the announcer's curse will kick in. I start highlighting it and mentioning it, and there could be something that you know I'm held responsible for by mentioning his long streak. But currently in 5th right now, Stefan. I won't make any more comments about that. Good luck today on your half, and hopefully it turns into a regular season championship for him. Stefan on the outside there. And he's going to have to hold off as Atlee's got the preferred line. It's Ford followed by 3 Toyotas and another Ford for your top 5. It's crazy how many drivers need a win here today. You look through the field, you've got the 74 of Andrew Moger running 6th, the 18 of Chadwick running 8th, the 41 of Scott Speed running 10th. Those 3 drivers all within a good shot of getting that win here today. Might need some things to go their way. Atlee taking a peek inside Jordan Walker here. And making a charge through turn 2. Now it's going to be TRD running 2 and 3. Looks like we have about a 12 truck breakaway for one pack at the front here, and then about another 15 truck second pack. And there's a third one materialized all the way at the back as well. So we've got 3 gaggles of trucks running on the field here at Pocono. Even though 60 laps didn't seem like a whole lot, Pocono being one of the longer tracks on the circuit that's not a super speedway, the laps here ranging at nearly about a minute a lap. So if we don't get any cautions, this race could be over within an hour. Pit stops will obviously throw a little bit of a wrinkle in the lap times there. With 60 laps at Pocono, I'd imagine there'd probably only be about 2 pit stops. Those 2 pit stops can really change up the whole outcome of the race here. As mentioned previously, the only driver that can really point his way in would be Dalton Hayes in the 55 truck. And for him to do that, he would have to outpoint Jakov Rosevich. And basically, Jakov would have to basically retire from the race, and Dalton Hayes would have to get a top 5. So I don't even think that will be much of a spectacle to be following. The 55 of Dalton Hayes currently sitting well, there's Jakov Rosevich in 14th, Dalton Hayes in 11th. So Hayes, at this point, short of Rosevich blowing up, is going to have to win here today. Our top 5, apart from the 87 truck, really are the titans of the Eastern Division here, with Tim Kourting, Atlee Weiss, Jordan Walker, Ant Meeperson, and then Andre Stefan. It's they're the heavy hitters. I think we're gonna have to keep an eye out on each individual driver here for the Eastern Division. Once we combine the East and the West together, these might be some of your top drivers. And no, I'm not, no bad intentions or no bad juju to the West Coast. There's a lot of great drivers on the West Coast too that I think could really upset the apple cart once you get all these trucks racing together on the same track. It's going to be interesting to watch and see how the likes of John Hagan matches up against Tim Kourting or Atlee Weiss. Don't forget, you got Trevor Walker on the West Coast. Once he joins the fold for the chase, he's going to be an interesting one to keep your eye on. And do note, too, once the chase does happen and starts, it doesn't mean the other trucks are out of it. So even Chaz Chadwick there, who might miss the chase here, he's going to have opportunities to race with the chase contenders and potentially take wins away from them. Oh, we got the 87 of Guido Piano getting side by side with Tim Kourting. It's going to be a great battle here this evening at Pocono. Jordan Walker getting alongside Atlee Weiss. Well, Guido Piano back with the lead here. Tim Kourting in second, about to get swallowed up by the tin truck. Atlee in fourth, Chadwick sitting in sixth as Andre Stefan muscles his way up to fifth. And we're about 1/3 of the way through the race here. No retirements. Everyone's still running on the lead lap. A big pack of trucks here racing side by side, two abreast. Looks like Osiel Escobar running in 30th there. But still a lot of racing. Strategy could really change the whole outcome. James Reddick, who is pretty much in the safe zone. He's going to have to finish at least in the top 20 here today and hope for a non-new winner to win the race here today. Sitting about 8th in the points, and no one else can pass him in points. The only one that can pass him points-wise is Jakov Rosevich. And that could play into factor if Jakov Rosevich outpoints the 62 of James Reddick, and then we had a new winner, Reddick would be on the cut line and knocked out. Same goes for Zach Armstrong if he has a bad run here today. If he drops to dead last on field, the 0 of Rosevich could outpoint him, putting Zach Armstrong on the cut line. But nothing to worry about right now, running in 12th. He's pretty much doing what he needs to do in order to stay in the points. Tim Kourting takes the lead back here. Guido Piano basically just playing a game of cat and mouse with Tim Kourting. Chadwick taking a dive down on the front stretch here to go 3 wide with the likes of Andre Stefan. Not quite, though. Stefan had more momentum going into the turn. They fall back single file. Atlee wants a shot at taking the lead here as he's caught up to the back bumper of Kourting. Kourting, the only thing he doesn't have is the help of a teammate like the two Toyotas behind him. I think it'd be a good idea to interview Atlee on his decision to putting Guido Piano in the truck here today. It seemed like the perfect puzzle piece, if you ask me. The 87 truck has been stout all season. It's got pretty much the same utilities as the 19 truck and has been a fun all-star seat to watch with rotating drivers. A lot of drivers that may not have had a shot at winning races prior to this season definitely have been looking stronger when they hop in that 87 Toyota. And there we go. Atlee takes the lead away from Tim Kourting. Following behind is Guido Piano in that black and purple 87. Chadwick slots into 6th behind Stefan. And now we've got the 40 of Bradley Ream up into 7th. followed by his teammate Scott Speed in 8th. So with it being a 60-lap race, these guys are going to have to make it to at least lap 30 on strategy. That would pretty much put them good to go to the finish. Guido Piano making a move for the lead here. There's no team orders in line. These two are fighting like rivals from different teams. Guido Piano noses out in front of the 19 truck and slides his way right in front of the boss man. Not quite all the way in front. The boss man kept his nose there. Guido didn't have an opportunity to close the door. And now going into turn 1, he does it. It's been some great racing here at Pocono today. We've seen a lot of lead changes in only 25, 24 laps run. Yeah, that'd be a good guess. I would believe 29 to 32 be the window. A lot of drivers that might not have the fuel mileage with their truck. That's one thing we've seen has been a struggle for Chadwick and the Honda is the mechanical, is just not there for some of the races. Seems like they are playing catch up when it comes to strategy, fuel mileage, whatever it might be. But here today, he's got one shot, and all he can do is throw the Hail Mary. Running in 4th, highest he's run here today so far. At least 29 could be doable if the driver is able to slow up and save fuel on at least one lap. Wow, look at the 18 truck, just drove it in deep there into turn 2. Closing the gap on the 50. He's got quite the momentum on his side right now. As Chadwick catches up to Tim Kourting, and he's going to give Tim Kourting the boot. He gave Tim Kourting the boot up into the wall. That just shows you how badly he wants it here today, folks. He's going to give it 110% to try and get the win here. Yeah, I can imagine that the 50 is probably livid with that move. It's been, actually, the 50 gave the 19 a bump earlier. 87 didn't drive him so cleanly. And then the 18 of Chadwick just kind of drove right through him. So, I can tell you, I think the competition is tired of seeing the 50 truck up the front. You gotta love the emotion, seeing the how hard these guys are all putting. Oh, yep, there we go. The 50 gave him a bump back to let him know. It's like I did not appreciate that shove into the wall. Tim Kourting not giving him much room either. Ah, yes, we got a good race on tap here, folks. This is the best way to close out the regular season. Chadwick now stuck up high to dry. Going to get passed by the 40 of Bradley Ream, it looks like. Great team tactics from the TRD 19 and the 87. We've seen them run pretty much close to each other all season, but I haven't seen this kind of dominance from the two of them, I think, at all yet this season. Especially the way the 87, being the all-star entry, is looking. Tim Kourting getting alongside the 19 here. Those two have been racing each other very hard here. And you got Dalton Hayes right there in the mid-picture, running about 10th. Dalton Hayes could definitely still get into the chase here today with some luck. Plus, the other good thing about that for Tim Kourting, Dalton Hayes is his teammate. Having another teammate up at the front of the field could help fend off attacks from the other drivers. And the 55 dropped off. I don't know what happened. I was seeing him in the picture. Maybe fuel. It's getting really long into this run. 28 laps. He slowed way up. Even the 74 truck got by him. So perhaps a little bit of the commentator's curse on my part for giving him some props there. Tim Kourting has had nearly a perfect season here for the 2023 Summer Championship, but the only thing that has eluded him with his tactics have been win-win-win, and when he hasn't won, he's usually finished outside the top 10. Because of that, the 10 races we've had, Andre Stefan has outperformed him and held that points lead. And the way they run right now, if I did some number crunching, it looks like Stefan in 8th. And if the 50 held on for 2nd here, it wouldn't be enough. The gap is 41 points from Andre Stefan to Tim Kourting. So Tim Kourting would have to win this race, and Andre Stefan would have to finish 35th or worse. And Andre Stefan's biggest competition for the overall championship actually comes down to the 13 of Ant Me Person, who's right alongside him right now. Don't mind as the 50 of Tim Kourting takes the lead back as I skim to the back here. But Ant Me Person is 11 points back of Andre Stefan. And honestly, if Ant Me Person gets up to 2nd here and Andre Stefan stays right where he's at, it might get interesting as to whether or not Ant Me Person will win the regular season championship or Andre Stefan. It just blows my mind that after 5 wins, a 50% win ratio for the 50 truck. How fitting, driving the 50 truck and has a 50% win ratio to this point. And he is basically a full race back of the championship lead. That looked kind of weird how that happened. I wonder if he woed up, if he might have lost some fuel pressure there. You kind of saw the other trucks behind him juke to avoid. Due to all that, the 18 of Chadwick now slots his way up to 2nd. But yeah, no, with the regular season championship, it's not looking like Tim Kourting's actually in control of that right now. Even if he were to win his 6th race here tonight at Pocono, Andre Stefan, all with a top 10 finish, would keep that overall regular season championship. But where it's going to get tricky is once we go to the chase, the 50 of Tim Kourting will actually be seated number 1 overall with his 6 wins. So as crazy as it is, not win the regular season championship, but be the winningest driver and earn the first seed, I guess you might say, into the chase. So they still haven't started making pit stops yet. We're on lap 32. So I imagine, yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's coming down pit road except for the 2 truck. The 2 of Trevor Vaden is the first one to commit to pit road. Rejoins the track here. About the 14th place drivers. We're over halfway already. On pace to get this race done in record time. Stefan still looks like he's solidly in a top 10 finish position here today. That would move his streak up to 11 straight. And if you compare that to real-life Cup drivers, there's only been 6 other drivers in the real-life world of racing, of NASCAR, that have had 10 consecutive top 10 finishes. So that is nothing to shrug about with that 56. It's a stout record to hold. And he could possibly rival the likes of Jeff Gordon, who had 14 straight back in 1995. So, of course, this is only the Truck Series. It's not the, NASCAR Cup division. But, I mean, that's a record even, in the lesser series that's hard to pull off. First round of pit stops. Chadwick actually going to lead a lap here as Tim Kourting is going to take the undercut. Very, very close to the prediction by Centennial there. It was right at about lap 30, 35, so 3 laps extra. The nice thing is I don't think we're going to see this be a fuel mileage race. The only way it would have been a fuel mileage race is if we had a caution at lap 28 and people made pit stops. Well, maybe more so 26 or 24, because we know they can go at least 32 around here. Next group of takers looks like it's going to be coming this time by. The 18 of Chadwick, the 19 of Weiss, 87 of Piano, 40 of Bradley Ream. No cautions through the first half of the race here. Only 25 laps to go. This will be the money stop as to who may come out on top after the 1 round of pit stops that we'll have here today. You almost got to treat Pocono like a road course at times, because the track, as long as it is, some people can pit and not lose a lap. It's just crazy, the enormity of Pocono, and that some people might even just tackle it like a road course and do these weird strategies that throw a curveball to everyone. Here comes Chadwick right alongside the 50 of Tim Kourting. Doesn't look like Tim Kourting is going to gain too much of an advantage here, as the undercut had allowed him to get out sooner. Chadwick, though, will have fresher tires now for the final 24 laps of the race here. I'm liking the bet that Chadwick made. This is going to be a true race to the finish. And with tire wear, I imagine that 18 truck will outlast the rest of the field. And how crazy would that be, knowing that he had to win here today? His teammate on the West Coast was able to pull off the win to get himself in. Chris Harvey winning last week, or actually 2 weeks ago now, and getting Honda its first win. So Bossman Chadwick might have learned some stuff from the research and development on the 12 truck to bring here to Pocono today. One thing that we've seen today that we've not seen before is the fact that the 50 is actually beatable. He has been a hard cookie to beat. And today he has swapped the lead back and forth with the likes of Guido Piano, Atlee Weiss, and we do have a caution here. Perhaps the 65 of Osiel Escobar? Oh, he comes to a halt on the front stretch with tire damage. So that will bring out our first caution here today at Pocono. Unfortunately for Osiel Escobar, that's going to put him down a lap. But it's going to bunch everyone back up and make things interesting with a 20-lap charge to the finish. Were you really about to type that before your truck had a mechanical failure? That's such terrible luck. I feel for you. Because, yeah, it just so happened that the caution came out because of Osiel, and Osiel was like, I hope that my truck makes it without a hitch, and then it got jinxed. Well, the good part is I don't think Osiel is out of the race. As you can see, they're doing work on the truck right now. Obviously, this equates for tow truck time, so that the truck's on pit road. But you got to imagine that the truck is being towed back to the pit stall. So he's going to lose probably 2 laps here. Pocono, he might only lose 1 lap, and we could always give him the wave around. But there he goes, his 2nd lap down. Truck hasn't vanished into thin air yet, so he's still working on getting back into the race here. So yes, it's going to be interesting. We just saw everyone finish their round of green flag pit stops. Someone could potentially sneak down pit road to, get a fresh pair of tires, try to charge through the field from the back maybe. Pocono's a tough one to do that at, though, because you don't really have a whole lot of slowdown space. So unless you have a very fast truck, there's not really a good opportunity for you to come from the back of the field to the front in only 20 laps time. A lot of moving pieces. If the 18 of Chadwick or the 41 of Scott Speed were to win here today, the 0 of Rosevich would get knocked out. And it seems like the 0 of Jakov is running 17th, so not great, but not bad. Rosevich and Reddick just a couple spots behind him. A lot of drivers with needing that win and still very much within range of getting it done here today. This restart's really going to shake things up, I imagine. Lights on the pace truck are going to stay on for another lap here. That'll give us some more time to kind of sink our teeth into the incoming restart. So yeah, Rosevich has a 40-point lead over Dalton Hayes. So Dalton Hayes is not going to outpoint Rosevich as they run right now. However, Rosevich is only 22 points behind James Reddick. Rosevich could outpoint Reddick to put Reddick on the bump line. And it's only 16 points from Rosevich to Armstrong. But Armstrong running solidly in the top 15, still not much of a factor for that cut line to change. So Rosevich really needs to charge through the field if he wants to get off that cut line. We'll roll with what we've got. I don't anticipate a green-white checkers. They race so clean here at Pocono, it's crazy. That's one reason why, and it's crazy how much of a staple that this track has been for clutch moments in my series. I have hosted this as the regular season championship in the Cup Series for many, many years. And the racing here is just very extra in the way that the AI races it. And we've seen it here today with groups of trucks. You have your fast group, your mid group, and your slow group at the very, very back. And even your fast group very, very often switches the lead around numerous times. Lights are off on the pace truck here. We're going to have one more lap to green. But that's, yeah, that just shows you how great of a track Pocono is here on NR 2003. We've got a solid track with solid action every year. Scott Speed is going to get to start on the outside. That means Chadwick gets to start inside, bottom row, with the 50 of Tim Kourting right in front of him. Atlee Weiss will line up side by side with Chadwick. Ant Meeperson up to 5th. Seems that Guido Piano lost the most here, falling all the way back to about 8th or 9th there. Ant Meeperson with a lot on the line here. He could win this race and win the regular season championship. So Ant Meeperson definitely with a lot of playing to do here. A lot of room to wiggle. The 56 of Stefan just has to keep doing what he's doing and keep the points behind him. Or rather, collect the points in front of him and keep the drivers behind him. Alrighty, we will be getting back to green here with 18 laps to go. This should be a good fashioned shootout to the finish here. And even better that we've got everyone bunched back up. Green flag waving in the air. Tim Kourting alongside Scott Speed. No one is cut out of line quite yet. Now we've got the 10 cutting out of line, the 16. But your top 4, 5, 6 not really stepping out of line. 3 wide with Stefan in the middle there. Top 4 basically running where they were on the restart without a whole lot of movement. Then you got 5th and 6th back to single file. Almost trying to go 3 wide for the lead there. Chadwick with a full head of steam behind the 50 truck. Ant Meeperson now slots his way up to 3rd. And based on the running order, Stefan sitting in about 10th. Ant Me Person up to third. That gap is going to shrink significantly as to whether or not Ant Me Person or Stefan is going to be leading the points at the end of the race here. Wow, Chadwick getting right on the back bumper. We all know how hard he wants to win the race today. That's going to be an emotional win for anyone outside the top five here, in the top five even. Ant Me Person gives him a push. Chadwick to the front. It's going to be hard, though. He's got the stoutest field of ambush trucks behind him. And it's crazy to say that because Chadwick is usually one of the stoutest contenders on the circuit. Even crazier that we've got the likes of Guido Piano in the field here today. And perhaps lightning in the bottle has been caught here today. Who knows? Guido Piano could still come up and spoil the party, as you see the 87 truck not too far behind. But number of laps is going to start to become a factor here, as we only have 16 to go. Chadwick's going to have to be a master at blocking the rushes behind him. He's kind of sitting in a center line, holding the draft from both the top and the bottom at the moment. And Ant Me Person sitting in second right now. Andre Stefan still in the top 10 though. Atlee Weiss goes down low. Looks like it might be a 3-wide ordeal. Nope, not quite. As Tim Kourting settles into single file there. Man, these drivers are really not afraid of bumping and touching here today. As you can see, that 50 almost gave the boot to the 13. Very close quarters combat here at Pocono. Chadwick said that he would continue to run the Beluga truck until he won a race. It's going to be a fancy truck to be gracing victory lane if it happens. I can't keep talking like that. I'm going to jinx the poor fella. I just love what we're seeing right now. A lot of separation towards the back, a lot of side-by-side racing, and a lot of close quarter racing here at the front. Tim Kourting going low here. That's going to break up the draft and allow the 18 to kind of keep the lead, I imagine. Tim muscles his way through the 13 truck. It didn't seem to really break up the draft all that badly. As you can see, the 50 still really close on the back bumper of the 18. We're down to 13 laps to go. And a ticket to the chase on the line here. Wow, this is the best case scenario for Chadwick. The two of those trucks fighting behind him for second. Ant Me Person really wants a shot at winning the race here today, as well as Tim Kourting, who wants to rack up as many bonus points for the chase. And then you got Atlee in the background. It's like, hey, don't forget about me, fellas. I want to get into the fold too. So you've got a Honda, a Dodge, a Ford, and a Toyota all mixing it up at the front of the field here. Some true parity in the USA trucks. And the most unexpected of them being the Honda leading the way right now. James Reddick. You can see the white Wajax car, or truck, I mean. It seems we're all making the same mistake, calling these not what they are, as they are trucks. But James Reddick there in the background is looking good to stay in the points. The one that's going to be sweating bullets right now is Rosevich, with the 18 leading the way. That would bump Jakov out with a surprise win here today. Chadwick now with a little bit more stress behind him as the 50 truck gets shuffled out. He's only going to have to hold on to the 13 behind him, who looks really stout here. We know that this pass with the 13 could be pivotal in earning a regular season championship for Ant Me Person, which would be huge, as he was really not in the talks for, points lead wise. Just kind of slowly eking his way up to the front of the field here. Oh, and Atlee getting alongside Ant Me Person. See, I don't know who you want to be behind you at this point. Chadwick, I think, honestly, it's like a bunch of piranhas behind him. Anyone that gets up to second place is not someone you want in your rear view mirror. So now he's had the likes of Tim Kourting gracing his rear view mirror, Ant Me Person, and now Atlee Weiss with a clear spot in his rear view mirror. But the only thing that's really helping Chadwick at this point is how hard these drivers are racing for second place. It's crazy. They're not even fighting for the lead. They're fighting for the first runner-up position. There's a move for third. Tim Kourting getting back up a spot. It seems that Ant Me Person might have used up his stuff a little bit here. Trying a little bit too hard. So the 62 seems like he must have got back out, because I don't see... Yep. Or, my bad, not 62, I meant 65. Three laps down for Asiel Escobar, running dead last right now. So, short of anyone else having a mechanical failure, or even, if we have a big wreck here on track that takes out half the field, you never know. Now you got Tim Kourting in your rearview mirror. This is going to be the moment of truth. If he can hold off the 50 here going into turn 3, does not have a good line going into turn 3. Chadwick going to lose the lead here briefly. Chadwick's going to try to fight back on the high side. He's going to have the longest front straight in NASCAR truck, well, all the NASCAR tracks that exist, to try and stretch it out on him. But Tim Kourting on the inside now going to prevail, taking the position away. So now we're in single digits for laps left to go. 9 laps remaining here today. And Chadwick just needs to take a step back and regroup. Obviously, he can't get back onto that inside where he's most comfortable. 3 wide now for the position. Chadwick's going to have to give up some spots here to try and get back down low. We'll keep our camera down here in the very volatile position where someone could either win their way in or fail to win and fall out of contention. One good thing, though, with Chadwick here today, even with a great finish, he could secure a top 20 position, which would lock him in to racing the chase as the bottom percentile, the bottom half of the field. Your top 20 will be, contrived of the top 10 from the east and the top 10 from the west. And then our other 10 drivers that make up the top 20 in the east and the top 20 in the west will all be locked into each and every main event for the chase. Chadwick has had a hard time getting up into the top 20. So even a good run here today could put him into the top 20 and give him unlimited opportunities during the chase to possibly get a win this season. This one ain't over. Still 7 laps to go now, as laps seem to be going by quicker and quicker towards the end here. Chadwick has found the inside lane again, and the 50 truck is now the sitting duck at the front of the field. You got to give Chadwick some mad props for holding the lead as long as he did. Shows that he's got a stout truck here today, and perhaps that has a little bit to do with the rubber advantage that he has. He has about 1 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field. And like that, now moving back into 3rd position. He's got 2 more trucks in front of him. I'd rather be running behind the leaders, catching up to them in the closing laps, rather than holding the lead with the potential to lose it. With the help of Chadwick, Chadwick's actually given Atlee more momentum to catch up to the 50. So I think we're going to see that the 18 truck here is a strong pusher. It gives the other trucks around him good draft advantage. Fascinating teammate for Chadwick cracking into the picture. Jeffrey Gerald, who is locked into the chase. Moving to the front when it matters the most to help Bossman out here. Chadwick has to settle back into 3rd. It truly is the Sluggernaut trio at the front here. Our top 3 contenders for the championship in 2023 for the winter season. And running as they finished in the actual overall championship with Tim Kourting, Weiss, and Chadwick. Chadwick hoping to flip the odds here today at Pocono, though, as he's running with good momentum behind the 19. This will break up the draft that 19 had. The 50 keeping a good gap from him to the 18. 3 laps to go when they cross the line this time. It's all up to the drivers at the wheel. Chadwick still side by side with Atlee. This is not helping his case a whole lot, but he gets by the 19 truck and sets his target on the guy that has been seemingly unbeatable this year. Oh, and we've got a caution. Add laps for green-white checker. And we are going to be treated to some NASCAR overtime here in the USA Truck Series. We'll first have to see what brought out the caution here. Wow, so the 33 looks dinged up. Yep, there we go. This is what brought out the caution with 3 laps to go. So with that, it's gonna take it's gonna take an extra couple laps to get this one done here today. I did not anticipate us getting a wreck, but we'll do a quick recap and see. It was the 43 of Taden Berggren bumping into the 78 of John Brinker. That's really the extent of the caution there. Doesn't look like it's going to be sustainable damage for a full retirement. Good call, James. I'm sorry I didn't do it earlier, but the good part is I was able to move screen, hit add laps, move screen back, and we are on par for, I think this will be our first green-white checker finish here on the Eastern Division this season. So it should add a lap this time. Yep, 59 of 61. So this'll I'm kind of having to get off the adrenaline high right now after what just unfolded for us. Escobar could, if we get someone retired, still make some spots up, especially if we have another restart. Yeah, 30 truck retired. So Tasha Wright, I didn't see exactly how she got tangled up in this mess. The caution comes out, so it's coming back from the caution that she gets in it, maybe. The 78's down low, I assume. Still nothing. Yeah, they get bunched up. Oh, that's a bummer. That's one of the only flaws that this track might have, is coming around under caution, that we might have some crazies going down here. Looks like the extent of the damage may have went to the 30 in the accordion there. Yeah, that's really about... Ooh! Still, they get woed up. That's going to allow a chance for Escobar to maybe get some spots made up here. The other topic of debate or topic of concern is the 0, the 62, and the 4 truck. All three of which are in the top 20. As long as they finish in the top 20, they are safe. But Rossovich, however, is not safe if we get a new winner with the likes of Chadwick there running in second. So lights will stay on the pace truck for another lap here. That would actually put us at regulation on lap 60 here. So officially going on to overtime lap. Can't believe that the regular season championship will come down to a green-white checkered finish here today. The 56 of Stefan still sitting in the top 10 here. But with another restart on the horizon, his top 10 streak could be in jeopardy here. If he falls back to 12th and Ant Me Person finishes second, that'll be Ant Me Person, your 2023 regular season champ. One more lap, it seems we'll be back with the lights off on the pace truck next time by. So about 2 more laps under caution here. And if this is the excitement that we've got for the regular season championship tonight, just imagine what the Western Division will be like tomorrow. We have had quite the excitement on the west side. We've seen some new winners. Matthew Fastnot went on a 2-race win streak. Then we've seen Chevy break its winless streak with John Hagan. So the West Coast could be just as exciting, if not maybe even more. I'm just glad that the East Coast tonight, which has been relatively snoozy from race to race, that we've actually seen someone, throw down with the 50 truck here. Tim Kourting is not looking quite like the dominant force that we've seen all season so far. Perhaps the other teams have done their research and have figured out how to race him, because we've seen the lead swap with that 50 truck numerous times amongst his rivals that race on the field with him. Lights are off. We'll be going back green next time by for a green-white checker. Guido Piano still sitting in 5th. Could be a spoiler if he gets back into the fold here. He'll be starting inside 3rd row. Chadwick in the outside lane. It's not always the preferred lane, but we've seen so many times here with NR 2003 and the double file restarts that it just seems like that outside lane has that much more of an advantage. The nice thing about this, we could see a photo finish on a restart like this. They didn't really get broke up for about 2 laps, so they could be side by side for the entire 2 laps to finish this. Also, I hate to throw this out here, but fuel mileage now becomes a severe concern. If we even have one extra green-white checker, you might start seeing trucks drop like flies. Chadwick with a huge jump on the start there. It looked like the 50 was snoozing on the line. Chadwick clears with ease going into turn 1. They obviously have to take the white flag for this race to be considered done and over. So don't count your chickens before they've hatched. We could get another caution here and have another shot at a green-white checkered run in overtime. Chadwick with the lead going through turn 2. Coming down the back half of the track going towards turn 3. Chadwick has had the deck stacked against him all season so far. It's been a hard season to say the least. It's actually been a dismal season for this 18 team. Chadwick rolling around to the front stretch, taking that white flag. This is going to be an official race no matter what happens now. Coming down the longest straight in NASCAR, going through turn 1 now. Tim Kourting had quite a charge going into turn 1. This race, far from over. Chadwick doing what he needs to do to flip the odds here today. Tim Kourting driving a little bit on the inside. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough momentum to actually make it work. Chadwick keeps his midline there. Oh, and it's going to be a drag race coming down the back half of the track. Atlee actually keeping it interesting here. Atlee may have just won the race for Chadwick, as they are side by side for second. Chadwick comes through turn 3 at Pocono. Like last season, we've seen it happen before in a must-win scenario. Yet again today at Pocono, another driver wins his way in to the championship chase. Holy cow. Man, that's very much like the Guido Piano we saw in 2022. Chadwick had to get that win. Guido Piano really had to get the win as well. Guido Piano wasn't having a great season that year either, but yet Guido Piano won at Pocono. then went on to Talladega to win the championship. Chadwick, I don't think, had any idea that he was going to win to get in for the chase. But there you have it, folks. The 18 truck seals the deal, getting his first win of the campaign here in 2023. And I can only imagine the victory lane celebration for that team is going to be out the roof. The roof may not even exist after tonight. That 18 team put together a great performance here to lock their way in. He's going to join his teammates, the 16 of Jeffrey Gerald and the 12 of Chris Harvey now. LFG Motorsports went from looking like they weren't going to have a single truck in the chase to now 3 of the 4 trucks locked in. The only reason they can't get, well, technically 3 of 3, because the 4th truck is an all-star entry that's ineligible for the playoffs and whatnot. So that is the way to wrap up a regular season championship. Andre Stefan comes home in 8th, keeping his top 10 streak alive, now at 11 straight. And he is your regular season champion, as he held off enough points away from Ant Me Person. Good thing we had a green-white checkered. I don't know how that would have played out had we not had it. Chadwick is going to be simply ecstatic. And we've got our final 3 from last season in it again already. So that right there is the cherry on top, that we've got our final 3 as they finished 1, 2, 3 today. That will be duking it out for the championship. It would have been very, very kind of sad to not have Chadwick in the mix. But now we don't have to think about that. 11 of 11 races wraps up the regular season. And tonight I'm going to get the chase points calculated so we know just how much of a lead that Tim Kourting has on the rest of the field. And then we can do kind of a look in for tomorrow's race to wrap up the Western Division. Wow, that was simply the best. See, and I had no control over that. That's what makes this so exciting. The AI, they put on the show. I just commentate to give you guys something to listen to. And that's really going to raise some conversation as to what Chadwick's going to use for his chase paint scheme. I know we threw it up so that people could start brainstorming on what they want their chase paint scheme to look like. And Chadwick now can start pondering what he wants as his chase paint scheme. Glad everyone could tune in. I'm ecstatic myself that we got treated as such a great race tonight. I don't know if there's much else I can add to it. That was the best race this season so far. And Pocono, man, Pocono has been known for these crazy scenarios where drivers need a win to get in, and it's happened yet again. Guido Piano and Chaz Chadwick now have something in common. They both needed a win worse than ever to break the substantial odds that kept them out of contention. So Guido Piano came home with the top 10 tonight. It was neat to see him out there on track with his fellow USA Truck comrades that he used to race with, since he's upgraded to the Cup Series now. But with that, I'll be in touch with everyone on Discord. Hopefully y'all have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. It was a great race. This will definitely be a chapter that's going to be marked in my favorite book. So have a good night, everyone. Talk to you later. This is Jakester signing out.